how to install BGR Forged big brake kits. First thing you do is you take out your two caliper bracket bolts. 1, 2. The next thing you do is you take off your two rotor retaining fasteners. After getting your fasteners out, take your rotor off. Now, normally you wouldn't want your caliper hanging by that brake hose, but this stuff is not being used anymore. The next thing you want to do is you want to take off your brake hose retaining bolt. After that, you go ahead and take off your brake hose. You want to pull this tab here out. See that tab? You want to pull that out and then unloosen your brake hose. So I have my brake hose screw loose. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and pull this tab here, this tab right there, out. Let's pull it straight out. See that? Now I can just drop that straight out. That's my caliper and my brake hose. Now what we want to do is we want to take our new brake hose. We want to unscrew that right there. Slide that up. Put this nut back on. So we want to put that nut back on. We want to go ahead and put our brake line back into our hose. And we want to take that little bracket that we took out. We want to slide that back in. Like so. Now we just want to tighten everything down. So I'm moving along. I have my brake hose in place. I have my brake line inside my brake hose. What you want to do is these flare in fittings, these flare in wrenches, these work very well, better than 12-point sockets, wrenches. All right, that's all tight. Next thing you want to do is you want to get your hardware and you want to connect all of this here. The next thing we want to do is we want to take our sheet metal cutters and we want to cut. See this notch, that notch right here? We want to cut that out. We're going to cut that completely out. And this is not hard if you have the right tools. I'm doing this with one hand. Take this over here. And this over here. That's out. Next thing we want to do is we're going to do the same thing up here. Just want to cut this piece out. Now we can get our caliper bracket. We're going to mount our caliper bracket with our 14mm bolts. All right, so what we want to do is we want to tighten our caliper bracket bolts down to 101 foot-pounds. This is for my vehicle. It may be different for your vehicle. Now we have our caliper bracket, caliper mounting bracket, all torqued down to 101 foot-pounds, also using thread locker on the threads. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install our rotor. Now that we have our rotor installed, we want to go ahead and mount our caliper. So we're installing our caliper, which is basically going to slide our caliper over, and as you can see, our bolt holes line up like so. We'll go ahead and slip our bolts in. Now that we have our caliper mounting bolts started, we're going to go ahead and torque to 73 pound-feet. 73 pound-feet is the spec for my vehicle. It may be different for yours. Just a word to the wise: your front braking torque specs will always be greater than your rear. Just keep that in mind. .73. .73. So the last thing we have left to do is connect our brake hose to our caliper and mount it. I have my brake hose mounted, as you can see. The last thing to do is torque the brake hose bolt down to 25 pound-feet.